The art of trash talking is something that I've covered quite a bit on this channel. There are times, like with Lloyd Mumford at Super Bowl VII, where it worked out gloriously. And then there are times, like with Carl Pickens against the Packers, where it was absolutely moronic. I feel like there are a few things that should go without saying when you're trash talking someone. Don't trash talk someone on a hot streak. Don't trash talk a player that you're not directly going up against. In other words, if you're going to call Julio Jones trash, you better be lining up against Julio on Sunday. Don't trash talk your own team in the process. And it's probably not a good idea to trash talk when you're playing on a lousy team. Apparently, Andre Rison didn't get the memo, because in a 1993 game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Oilers, Rison's idiotic comments backfired in a big way. This is the story behind trash talk gone wrong. Let's set the scene. On December 5th, 1993, the Houston Oilers and Atlanta Falcons were set to square off in a big game at the Astrodome. This is a pretty big game for both teams. For the Falcons, after starting the season off with a 2-6 record, they've clawed their way back into playoff contention. Whatever they did during their second bye week worked out, because they won 3 straight games to get to 5-6. They had no wiggle room, as they were 2 back of the final wildcard spot, and had a bunch of other teams in the NFC alongside them with 5-6 wins, but the fact that they're playing meaningful football in December is impressive in its own right, considering where they were on Halloween. As for the Oilers, they're in a tight battle for both the division and the playoff spot. There are 6 teams in the AFC with at least 7 wins, and another 2 with 6. So even though the Oilers are 7-4 and leading their division, they are still in a tight playoff race. On top of that, Pittsburgh is right on their tail, sitting at 6-5, just 1 game back. However, the Oilers might be the hottest team in football at this point. After a 1-4 start, they've won 6 straight, with 5 of these wins coming by double digits. Over the 6-game stretch, they've scored 168 points, averaging exactly 28 points per game. Obviously, that's really good. Why do I bring this stat up? Because Andre Rison didn't get the memo. Rison decided that the Oilers' offense was, in fact, not that good. And so, in the week leading up to the game, he proceeded to talk some of the worst trash of all time. He said that the receivers on the Oilers were not good. If Warren Moon had us, he said, Houston would go to the Super Bowl. They run the worst routes I've ever seen in my life. They drop more balls than I've ever seen in my life. They're sorry. A couple of things are wrong with this. Number one, the Oilers might have the best receivers in all of football. When you look at the talent they had 1-4 on the depth chart, it is tough to beat. Webster Slaughter made the Pro Bowl in 1989 with the Browns, and would make the Pro Bowl during the 1993 season. Ernest Givins was a 2-time Pro Bowl receiver who scored 10 touchdowns the year before. Haywood Jeffires would make the Pro Bowl that season, and made it the previous 2 years in 1991 and 92, leading the league with 100 catches during the 91 season. And Duncan made the Pro Bowl the year before in 1992, after finishing 5th in the league with 82 receptions. So why Rison decided to say that the receivers on the Oilers are awful and holding the team back, I'm not sure. Number 2, you don't have to face those receivers. You are a wide receiver. You are not going to be on the field when the Oilers offense is out there. The entire Falcons defense now has to compensate for the fact that you called the Oilers receivers trash. Number 3, by saying that Warren Moon would make the Super Bowl if they had the Falcons receivers, you kinda just indirectly trashed your own quarterback. And this isn't like Rison trashed a bad quarterback. The quarterback on the Falcons that year was former Saints player Bobby Hebert, and he made the Pro Bowl during this 1993 season after throwing a career-high 24 touchdowns. There is no reason to throw your own quarterback under the bus like that. And number 4, the Oilers have won 6 straight and have the hottest offense in football. Why you would say this before the game, I have no idea. So how did the game play out? As you can guess by the title, this was trash talk gone wrong. The Oilers won the game 33-17. Warren Moon threw for 342 yards and a touchdown. The win gave the Oilers 7 straight victories, as they would finish the season out with a 12-4 record, winning the AFC Central and securing a first-round bye. The Falcons, meanwhile, would end the season 1-4 in their final 5 games, finishing with a 6-10 record, well shy of a playoff spot. Why Andre Rison felt the need to trash talk on Houston's wide receivers before this one, again, I'm not sure. Trash talking the opponent can sometimes work, but when it doesn't, as it did here, it just looks really silly. Special thanks to all our Patreon supporters for the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a Patreon and request future video topics in the description below.